if it's that funny or not. I don't know. We'll see, man. We'll see. There's so many of them. I generated all of these AI videos telling the story. Actually, you know what? Let's go ahead and start there and frame this prediction of the future that AI has informed us is probably Puffy Combs' fate. I don't know why it is, you guys, that I cannot put this stuff in the vertical output. That is weird. I don't know why. It should have them both the same, right? But it doesn't. Okay, so let's get into this real quick. I have one set up already. Yep. So this is the future, you guys. P Diddy sits in the sand on Epstein's island, crying and handcuffed behind his back. A group of children surrounds him, pointing and laughing. The narrator describes how Puffy is an informant, a child predator, and a murderer. Flashback to P. Diddy at Neverland Ranch with Michael Jackson. P. Diddy puts fentanyl in Michael Jackson's milk. Michael Jackson drinks it, sings his classic He-Hoo Chimon-Na, and comically drops dead, a rose growing from his mouth. P. Diddy grows devil horns, gives a demonic laugh. Fast forward to P. Diddy walking into a prison cell, greeted by a large black man named Malik, who says, "Welcome home, little girl, remember me." Cut to P. Diddy in drag, wearing lipstick and excessive makeup, sitting on Malik's lap in jail. So there's part one. Here, let's let's try one more of these. I don't really know which one's which. The unseen side of P. Diddy, the dark side of P. Diddy, a shocking revelation. Let's see, breaking chains, P. Diddy's bold statement. Oh no, I think this one was lame as hell. Yeah, sorry guys. It's really hit or miss with these things. P. Diddy's bold statement. Oh man, I made so many of them. It's really hard to remember which ones are good. In a world where the sun shines a little less brightly, Sean Combs, better known as P. Diddy, sits forlornly on a sandy beach. His eyes, usually sparkling with mischief, are now filled with tears, a spectacle that no one ever thought they'd witness. Now, let's take a step back. How did we get here? A few years ago, P. Diddy was at the Neverland Ranch, the legendary home of the king of pop, Michael Jackson. Dressed in his typical flashy attire, Michael was a sight to behold. Unbeknownst to him, P. Diddy was about to set a catastrophic chain of events into motion. With a wicked glint in his eyes, he slipped something into Michael's favorite drink, milk. As Michael took a sip, he belted out his iconic He-Hoo Chimon-Na before dropping dead, a single rose blooming from his mouth in a surreal twist of fate. As Michael fell, P. Diddy's laughter echoed throughout the room, and the air grew chillingly cold. It was a scene straight out of a gothic horror movie, with P. Diddy as the villain. Scene script, fast forward to a grim prison cell where a towering figure named Malik awaited P. Diddy's arrival. Malik, with a smile that could curdle milk, welcomed P. Diddy with a chilling, "Welcome home, little girl, remember me." And so began P. Diddy's life behind bars, a far cry from the glitz and glamour he was used to. In a final, bizarre twist, we see P. Diddy in drag, lipstick and all. Sitting on Malik's lap, he looked a world away from the hip-hop mogul we all knew. In the end, the image of P. Diddy, once a symbol of success and power, is now a chilling reminder. Oh, it sounds like we have had a crash somewhere. Nope, nope, that's working. So, okay, so the AI program crashed. All right, well, that's enough of that, anyways, man. Let's get into the story. I'm still working on those. They're gonna get funnier, I think. It really is a blast to put P Diddy in all of these terrible situations. But all right, so what is going on? Why am I talking about this? This channel is like, I'm not trying to turn into TMI here. Like, I don't want to be like a tabloid and talk about celebrity gossip. But I happen to have a history with this particular individual, a very, very small history, but I know a bunch of stuff about this guy. And also, when I posted the story, I put an edit that there was also when I was in DC that I had an experience with Ted Cruz. I'm a little bit hesitant to talk about that because I think that if you make an accusation on YouTube, and the chances Ted Cruz would hear about this are almost nil, but I think I can get in trouble. So I'm a little bit hesitant to tell the story because I don't know if I'm allowed to. But that's not right? I mean, shouldn't I be able to like expose predators? I mean, the dude is a predator for sure. It's one of the creepiest stories you will ever hear about anyone. Okay, so let's start with the P Diddy story. So any of you guys that have seen my Outlaw Tales stories know that when I was 17 years old in 1997, late 1996, early 1997, I dropped out of high school, and my mom gave me an option of either joining the military or getting a job. I got a job. So she had my stepfather take my moped to the dump so that I couldn't get to work and act like it got stolen. And then I had to join the military, but I didn't like that, so I went AWOL. And I just got on the subway and I went to Washington, D.C. And I ended up, I don't know how I did it. I just got off the subway and I didn't spend one night on the street. I didn't spend any money. I got a job right away in a I was washing hair in a gay hair salon. And I ended up living with this pink-haired Colombian guy for a little while. And then I met my girlfriend she was actually an heiress of the Coca Cola Bottling Company in Georgia, like the original thing. They didn't have any money, and I'll get into why eventually when we tie into that part of the story. So I basically became a teenage cocaine dealer. I started out starving in a row house, which is like they're sort of like townhouses, I guess, but we call them row houses. It was a horrible place. There was an execution in the basement where there was still chunks of skull and brain on the wall. By the way, if you're triggered by stuff, don't watch this. It's going to be bad. There was still, like, the mess was on the wall. No one cleaned it up. The cops didn't clean it up. Landlord didn't clean it up. Just left it there. I rented the basement. And I got this guy, Heiress, to front me an 8-ball. And I turned that 8-ball into a couple ounces. And then I met Malik at an after party. And I'm going to go ahead and use his name because he's in prison for life, as far as I know, so I don't really see why I should change his name. Seamus was not his real name, but that was his nickname. He was a sad story too, man. He was a model and a chef. By the time I met him, he was like green and like he could dance. Like it was crazy to watch him dance. Like he would like spin around and look at you and wink and like throw an imaginary ball up, and it was all so fluid you would see the ball, He was really an incredible guy, huge heart, but he would sit in his room and like pick chunks of his teeth out with a Coke spoon, and they would fly across, and if they hit something, he would giggle. And I mean, it was messed up, man. It was methed up. It was bad, that guy. And then one day, this escort that I knew that was friends with him back in San Diego showed me a picture of this like beautiful built, like, I was like, who is that? And she goes, Seamus. And I was like, what? And she's like, last year. I couldn't believe it, man. I could not believe that any drugs were capable of doing that to someone. And I think she said it was actually 18 months. Incredible, dude. It was like Gollum, like from a model to Gollum in 18 months. Last time I saw him, he had like one tooth. I mean, it's really sad stuff. So anyways, I met Malik at this after party of this millionaire art dealer named Charney, who drove a yellow Ferrari and had a lot of connections. Quentin Tarantino and all these people would come to this one party that he had yearly. The door was behind a dumpster in an alley, and super secretive and really messed up in there. So I met Malik, and he was huge, black guy, black as midnight. I mean, as black as a black person can get, and huge. And he had like the Greek symbol for the end carved into his arms. And he had, I think he went to Howard University for a very short time, and that's where he met Puffy Combs. I think he also knew him from New York, because Malik's story was that he was in New York flipping. He realized that he could buy like a dime of weed in New York and sell it for like $50 in DC. So he started out just buying a bunch of dimes, a bunch of $10 bags, and then driving them down to DC and selling them for 50 or whatever the markup was. It was something insane, you know? And so then he graduated to cocaine, and by the time I knew him, he was driving rental cars that you could rent from these rental agencies that catered to ambassadors and stuff. So they had like bulletproof glass and, you know, dark tints and like hidden compartments or whatever. I mean, like James Bond cars for, you know, diplomats for their protection and whatnot. You know, he had a different rental car every single time I saw him, so the police would never figure out what he was driving. He told me at one point that when he went to New York to get the cocaine, he would have a cooler full of orange juice in the car with him, because apparently orange juice completely destroys the cocaine molecule. So if he got lit up, he would just open up the cooler, throw the kilo in there, the orange juice would dissolve it completely. So it's not like you could even test the orange juice and it would have cocaine in it. The citric acid completely destroys it. So at least that was his story, that citric acid destroys the cocaine. It was probably true. So he shows up at my house one day. I'm 17 years old, and in the first 2 or 3 times I saw him, like he always had someone standing beside him when I opened the door. Like he always had at least one person. And in the very early days, it was a guy named Puffy Combs. And, you know, like I said, I only met this guy a couple of times, and I do remember them though talking about how like Puffy's going into the studio in a few weeks, and then he just disappeared. And the reason is that he recorded that song, "You Can't Hold Me Down" or whatever it was, and that was it. He was already involved with a record label, I think, and he had like some pretty big acts that he was working with, but nobody knew who he was yet. And so right after he disappeared, Malik got busted, and so did a whole bunch of other people that were connected to him. And it was Puffy, according to Malik. He said that it was Puffy's a fucking rat. He got out, and right away, you know, he bailed himself out like that night, which is insane. You're a 22-year-old black man with no job, you know? Like, how are you bailing yourself out with cash, and then you're going to plead not guilty to selling drugs? Like, what? You know, the system is obviously that corrupt, because, you know, I didn't see this, but he told me that he just hired like 8 lawyers and rolls up into court like, you know, black as midnight, with the way that they would make the tattoos for the gang that he was a part of. This, I mean, it was bigger than a gang, you know. It was like multi-millionaire drug traffickers and gun traffickers and stuff. They weren't like street gang, you know. They would heat up a dull knife, and then they would carve symbol, the Greek symbol for the end, and then when the scar tissue comes in, it's like real big and fat and like embossed. You know, it sticks out a lot. So, and he also, after that, when he got those brands, he had quit doing drugs completely. Which reminds me of another story from when I very first met him, before this bust. That was the first time I was given my N-word pass, and it was like a scene right out of a movie. I didn't like it. You know, 90s, we were super politically correct. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't. I didn't care about that, but that was the thing, you know. So we're sitting around smoking a blunt with these guys that he has with him. They're all covered in diamonds and gold chains and dreadlocks, and there's like guns on the table and stuff. And, you know, like a white Mercedes and a BMW, all these flashy cars outside of my ghetto-ass apartment. looking hella bad. I don't know why he brought this whole crew with him, but we're smoking a blunt, and he was just like running his mouth, and I was like, Mal, pass the blunt, man. And he goes, man, really, dude? What color is my skin? And everybody just looked at me, and I was like, black. And he's like, and so pass the blunt, And I'm just like, this has got to be a trick or a trap or whatever. So I moused it out, and then everyone went back to normal as if nothing had happened. So that was pretty fucking terrifying, to be perfectly honest. A bunch of crazy things happened with that guy, man. One time he came over, they had a half a kilo he brought me, and they check their guns, and so there's like I don't know what, like a Tech 9 or something, like leaning on the kitchen, like maybe the counter where it starts, in the like in the corner of the wall. So very visible from the front door, and all those cars that I was talking about are outside, and there's like money on the table and pistol, and a bunch of huge black dudes covered in jewelry, and like there's a knock at the door. I had no idea my mom found out where I live. So I'm thinking it's drama or somebody else in his crew, or maybe I was expecting someone. So I just go and open the door, and it's my mom. And she just walks in the apartment and like looks around. And they were hella respectful to her and stuff, you know what I mean? How's it going, ma'am? And like hella turned white, like they all just blanched and started acting like, like totally dropped the like gangster lingo. It was really nice of them. But it didn't help much. It didn't help much. So anyways, yeah, I mean, that's really, the extent of it, other than later on, Mal told me that Puffy's nickname actually came from when he was in Howard University. He played on the football team, and what's going on, man? He played on the football team, and he would puff his chest out because he was really little, and people called him Puffy. So he retained that moniker when he became a hip hop star, because Snoop Dogg and Cypress Hill, in the late '90s, acts like that were all about weed, and so he thought people would just make it a pot reference, and eventually he dropped it, I think, because he actually got it from being bullied. So, but the reason that all of this really hit me, is that it just came out that supposedly P Diddy had something to do with Michael Jackson's death. Like, it was a blackmail, part of some kind of blackmail or something, and Michael Jackson didn't acquiesce, and so Puffy had him killed. And it hit me that I had met the guy that killed Michael Jackson, that ordered the hit that killed Michael Jackson a couple of times, and it just blew my mind. I loved Cypress Hill too, but only 2 albums really: Black Sunday and Temple of Boom. Yeah, and so earlier, somebody made a comment, because I'm in Peru now. I don't do cocaine these days. But I did, once upon a time, the first time I was in Peru many years ago. I had to try it, and it was garbage compared to Malik's. In fact, I would use a coffee grinder to mix it, to cut it, and the rule that I was first taught was 20%, no more than 20%, and we always used inositol, which is heavier than cocaine, and it's like a B vitamin. So you could use less of it to get more weight, and it was water soluble, and it didn't mess your nose up, and you didn't even notice it, tasteless, odorless, the perfect thing. So you'd grind it in this coffee grinder, and then when you took the lid off, this mist of like pure, like really finely granulated cocaine would float up out of it, and you could put your face over it and inhale it. And the first time I did that, I thought I was gonna die. With that particular, with Malik's Coke. I couldn't feel my legs below the knee, like my hair felt like it was standing on end. My heart was beating out of my chest, I was pouring sweat. It didn't make any sense. It's not supposed to ever be that strong. So, and on another occasion, he brought some over, and I did a big fat line of it. And my heart was beating so hard that I got scared, and I went and drew a hot bath. And I got in the bathtub and my heart was beating so fast that my body stiffened completely, like as if the blood was pumping so hard that I couldn't bend anything. I just like stiffened, and I'm just like waiting for it to like simmer down. And so I realized that I had to cut it more. So I cut it 50 or face to face, which is equal parts, right? And that's a lot. And then I went out to the club called Cobalt, where 17th and R, where they called it Coke Bolt, where I always worked because there were no cops. You know, back then it was not, a cop didn't want to be sent to a gay bar. You know, like they just didn't come. There were no undercovers. We didn't have any problems at all. All the gay kids had sugar daddies, so there was just money just raining out of the sky. It was pretty absurd, actually. And so, what was I saying about Coke? Oh yeah, so I went down to the club with this face-to-face cut Coke, and I sell a bag to one gay dude, and he goes into the bathroom, and he comes back out, and he's like, "Honey, you need to go home and cut that shit. You are scaring people." So the first time in my life I've ever had, it was already cut face to face. You know, first time in my life, only time in my life, I think I've had someone come and tell me like, that shit's too strong, get it out of here. You know, so that's just in case that person is watching that was like, I bet it wasn't as good as the stuff in Peru. And it's like, well, you bet wrong, dude. Pretty wild. So here's the thing, you know, that's the whole Puffy story. You know, that's all there is to it. But for some reason, I guess I just started thinking about, you know, DC and all of the stuff that happened there. You know, I mean, I saw a lot of crazy things, man. I saw a drive-by with a 50 caliber Desert Eagle one time outside of a club called Red, which was like this Eurotrash. I mean, it was a cool club. I kind of liked being there, but you know what Eurotrash is? You know, it was bad, crawling with like greasy Eurotrash, and that's actually where I met. So at this time, I was dating the Coca Cola Bottling Company Heiress girl, right? And that's where I met the Pepsi Cola Heiress. First, I met her pimp, Dimitri. But first, I guess I'll tell you what happened with this drive-by. It was a limousine pulled up. There's a guy standing in line. 50 caliber Desert Eagle comes out like a movie, you know, blows a hole in the dude so big that it looked like he had time to look down and realize there was a hole in him the size of a watermelon, and then his rib cage dropped into his waist, and then the whole thing fell over. I mean, it was like some shit out of like Terminator or something, you know. It was just so goddamn surreal. And so yeah, that was that for that guy. And so same club. Dimitri, the first night I went in there, I was on mescaline. It was the first time I'd ever taken mescaline. Seamus had a bunch of little pellets of it, and I took the mescaline, and the club opened at like midnight. So, you know, it was like crazy as hell in there. Everyone was doing all kinds of drugs, and it was just off the chain loony. And so I go in there and I'm tripping balls, and I'm new to DC too. I'm a 17-year-old kid, like straight out of the redneck, you know, Northern Virginia kind of vibe. So this shit is wild to me, you know, and I'm brand new and I'm tripping balls. And then I see Dimitri. Dimitri's like 7 feet tall. I'm not even kidding. Like skinny as a rail, way fucking taller than me. And he is like in drag, but he also has like an Egyptian goddess costume on. And I don't know why I was like, I mean, I got to talk to this dude. So I struck up a conversation with him, and he introduced me to this girl who was the Pepsi girl. Little did I know Dimitri would ultimately become her pimp. And we'll get to why, you know. I mean, think about that. The first girl, the Coca Cola girl, she wasn't really that direct, like, and her dad was a lawyer to John F. Kennedy when he was in office, and I guess he had a ton of money, but he got two things happened. The CIA was trying to kill him because since he was Kennedy's lawyer, he knew stuff that he shouldn't know. And so, according to the whole family, I mean, I was not there, but one night they were just sitting at dinner, and bullets started hitting the dinner table from like outside. And it wasn't a ghetto, obviously, it wasn't like a ghetto neighborhood or anything. And that was their theory, that it was an attempted assassination because of his connection to the Kennedy, the John F. Kennedy. So, it was a pretty shady family. Coca Cola, and then Kennedy's lawyer, and that whole thing. This is so wild that I managed to do that, though. Hook up with the Pepsi girl, and so the reason I'm kind of stammering right now, though, is that there was something happened with Senator Ted Cruz, and I tried to check on Google and see if I can get any trouble for talking about this. I cannot afford to get deleted or even to get a strike. So I'm really hesitant. I think it almost should be like a secret stream thing or something. Maybe in my Discord we could talk about it or something. I think I'm going to do it, though. I'm just going to make a caveat of sorts, because people need to know this, man. I see that guy on, he's talking to Congress, and he's like, "Are these pedophiles? We need to put them all in prison, and we got to get all these, fucking people that are on the internet chasing kids around. Facebook is fucking up, letting them all chase the kids." And I'm like, bro, you and I both know, dude. You and I both know. So one night, Splash was like schizophrenic, maybe a little bit or so. I don't know. He was definitely crazy. Like he had been in a nut house. This is the Coca Cola girl's brother. He had been in a nut house for sure. He had like beat up 5 orderlies while sedated and shit. Like, he was scary. He was way bigger than me too. Like huge muscles and just completely insane. He was armed. He had a gun too on him. He went off in the house one time because he's an idiot. He was cleaning it. I'm sitting there playing PlayStation. Bullet whizzes by my face and hits the wall. What the fuck, Splash? They almost shot me in the head, man, just cleaning his gun. Like, fucking moron. But so anyways, me and him are out, and we run into this beady-eyed little dude with like black hair and it's like greased back, like he's from Texas or something, Southern accent. And he's in a gay bar. Republican, conservative, fucking shitbag. So yeah, we meet him, and he's like, "Hey, I want another, half gram or gram or something small, and but I don't have my ATM card. It's at home. Will you guys come to my apartment with me? I'll pay you a little bit extra for the trouble, and I'll pay for the taxi and shit." And we're like, "Yeah, no problem." So we go to his house, and we this was like almost a year after I got there. It was like 1998, early 1998, and I did check. Senator Ted Cruz arrived in Washington, D.C. to work for Shrub in 1998, right on the nose, and on Capitol Hill. And guess what you could see right out the front window of Mr. Cruz's apartment? The Capitol building was right there. And so we get there, and I walk in, and I'm looking at the, there's like pictures of presidents and this guy, this beady-eyed little weirdo, shaking hands with all of these, like all the way back to Carter, every single president. And I'm like, this dude is somebody. I don't know who, but he is definitely somebody. Well, I can't change the name of Senator Ted Cruz. That blows the whole story. What am I going to do? And so my caveat, though, is this. It was 2016 is when I figured out who he was. So this is 1998. So that's well over 20 years. Or what is that, 18 years? Yeah, almost 20 years. So, 18 years. So I don't know who he is, but I know he's somebody. And Splash and I kind of look at each other like, this is weird, And so we start blowing rails with this dude, And then I'm like, at one point, are you going to go to the ATM? And he's like, well, hold on. I want to ask you guys something. I'll pay you $200 to take off your clothes. And we're kind of taken aback a little bit, but we're like, well, we did meet dude at a gay bar, you know? So we just kind of look at each other, and I'm thinking, like, he's 6'4", batshit crazy, and he has a gun. Like, I'm 6'1.5" and 200 pounds. Like, I don't really think I care if, I'm like, so wait, you're not going to touch us. You just want us to take our clothes off for a second, and then we can put them back on, and you'll pay us each $200? And he's like, yeah. Then I was like, all right. And remember, we're minors, technically. Both of us were the same age. So we did it. And as soon as I dropped my drawers, that dude looked at my junk and got this like hungry, like almost like entranced look on his face. And he reached for my junk, and I'm like, all right, bro, game over. You know, like, you're going to go to the ICU. You need to chill. You know, best case scenario. So let's go ahead and not do that, and we'll put our clothes on, and you need to go to the ATM and get the money to pay us, and we need to leave. And he's like, okay, but hold on a second. I just got a question for you. Do you know where I can find any little boys, like young boys? And I'm like, bro, I'm a 17-year-old cocaine dealer. What, do you think I got, like, kids in the trunk of the taxi or something? Like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? Go to the ATM now, or you're going to have problems, you know? So he went to the ATM, came back, paid us, we bounced. We're like, man, dude, what a fucking, you know, we almost just, like, once we got paid, you know, Splash was like, man, let's just fucking put this guy in the ground. And I was like, no, dude. Look at these pictures, you know? We got to go. Splash wanted to just, you know, he would have too. He would have for sure. I think somebody touched him when he was younger. I think he told me that, and he was not, you know, he was ready to end that dude's political career. And so years and years and years go by, right? Trump is running against Cruz, and I never watch TV, you guys. I never, ever fucking watch TV, ever. The weird thing is, though, that every single time I do, something that is connected to me comes on. You know, if I do turn it on, it's something like I knew this guy, Golden Light Eagle, right? This Sundance, Lakota Sundance chief that like gave this talk about the star tribes, like aliens and stuff. Only time in like years I turned on the TV, there he is on the Discovery Channel or History Channel or whatever Ancient Aliens was on, with like this bar that supposedly, you know what I mean? Shit like that. Every single time I turn on a TV, there's a reason. And so for some reason, I don't know if I might have been out in public, and one of those Duck Dynasty guys who just unliked the stream. Somebody else hit the like button to make up for this douchery. I mean, the audacity to actually unlike the stream. Can I sing a song? How are you going to sing a song? No way Diddy would not recognize me. No way, dude. I don't think so. I mean, I don't think so. I don't know if I would have recognized him, really, if Malik hadn't, like, you know, talked about it. I don't know that I would have really, like, well, I guess I would have known a Puffy that, I don't know. I mean, he looked a lot different then. He dressed a hell of a lot different too, you know, getting really, really rich changes stuff. It's Easter. It's Ishtar. Ishtar is the fertility goddess whose symbols were eggs and fucking rabbits, which is, oh, by the way, speaking of synchronicities, one of you guys, it was crazy today. I was thinking about this stream and I was like, man, I bet you, you know, that all that cocaine that I did at 17 years old, you know, because I would also smoke, I was smoking crack too. I would take, I had so much of it, you know, I didn't really matter. So I would throw a bunch in a frying pan instead of a spoon with a half a box of baking soda or whatever, and like make a big crack pancake and wake up at like 8 o'clock at night and go out to the clubs and work all night. And that was like my breakfast. And I was thinking, man, I bet the fact that I've had a low sex drive since I was about, you know, that age, and like, you know, all these other weird things. And I was just thinking about how much I must have damaged my brain. While I'm thinking that, one of my patrons sends me a message and an article about how cocaine has been proven to actually screw up your DNA, and how a DMT entity actually, before he ever saw this article, yelled at him about all the cocaine he was doing, messing up his genetics. Seriously, I was thinking about the damage that the cocaine had done to me as a teenager, and he sent me that at that moment. So anyways, I'm at a bar, I think, and the TV's on, and the Duck Dynasty guy is up there talking about, Ted Cruz is a man of God, and Jesus, and blah, 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 and Jesus, fucking Jesus, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, this is just lunacy. Look at this idiot, with his big stupid beard and is just babbling about Jesus and shit. And the fucking dick grabber that asked for the young boys walks out to the podium and starts giving a speech. And I was like, no. Running for president on a Christian fundamentalist fucking conservative Republican ticket. Isn't that special? So I'm like, what the fuck do I do? Because like, I got to do something. So I hear Donald Trump saying like, fuck Ted Cruz, he's a piece of shit, or whatever, whatever he was saying, whatever he's saying. The left is furious, believe me. I got to get out of here. Joe Biden's trying to triangulate my position. Whatever, fucking Putin. I got 5 words for you, Putin. What was it? Never made it as a wise man. Anyways, so I'm like, bingo, and I start emailing Trump's people, his I don't know, his management and whoever I could, saying, hey man, I have this story and there is another witness. I'm not really sure how to track him down at this point. He could be anywhere, but I tried. I blew up Trump because I just didn't, what else are you going to do? And the thing is, I have no proof. And, I also have to admit that I did not see his ID. I did, it was 18 years later when I saw this Duck Dynasty guy, but the accent, the hair, the beady little eyes, the fact that like this guy on Capitol Hill in that apartment obviously was not a small fish. He was somebody that had some serious connections. I mean, I am 99% sure that my ID is correct, that's who that was. So that's that story. And then somebody else asked me, it's Easter. That's probably why I got a dislike. Oh, from the Ishtar thing? Yeah, well, you guys know how I feel about Jesus. I had to block one of my subscribers' moms today because I guess she's been spying on me, which is kind of scary to think that like sometimes my subscribers' parents will watch me to see like what kind of, and I'm totally unfiltered. I don't care, I'll say anything. If I think it's worth saying, it doesn't matter how offensive it is. I really don't care. Clearly. So, yep, I had to block somebody's mom. I had to block her on TikTok a couple months ago. Oh man. So yeah, and for those of you that don't know me, I'm not, this was a long time ago. I have nothing to do with any of this kind of stuff anymore for many, many years. But people asked me for biography at one point, and I was like, well, I guess so. Yeah, those early years were rough, man. I came out of a white trash ghetto with all kinds of damage, and I was raised that, you have to be not only tough, but dangerous, as dangerous as possible. And, hopefully also like as criminal as possible too, but without, you don't mess with innocent people, you don't steal, you don't rob people. You know what I mean? So it was like outlaw rules. Luckily, I was raised with outlaw rules and not criminal rules, which, that's good. It's like the only good thing that, they did not teach me what a credit score was, a mortgage. I had to Google it the other day, and I knew the etymology of it. I knew that it meant death bond, and I'm like, why are people getting these? Like, why do some people have like 2 or 3 of them? What is the death bond? The fuck? So, all right. So now let's talk about the Pepsi girl and the Coca Cola girl. Well, we're not going to talk about the Coca Cola girl because it's irrelevant to this part of the story. It's not long, but I think it's really telling. And I'm not proud of this because it was dirty and bad. The Coca Cola girl was probably my first love. I don't even know what I was doing. I don't know why I did this. I guess I was just young and high. Is that an excuse? I don't know. Not typical of me, even then to do something like this. But the Pepsi girl, we ended up sleeping together once. And so technically I cheated on Coca Cola with Pepsi. Like I actually did that. With like the heiresses. And so that little embarrassing bit of, I had to tell you though, because it's just so funny in a way. It's like gross funny or something. But I got to tell you what the Pepsi girl said, because a little while later, I found out that she was actually an escort. And she was that guy, Dimitri, the 7-foot-tall Egyptian drag queen guy, was her pimp. And so I ran into her after I found out that she was, prostituting herself. And I was like, dude, you're the Pepsi heiress, right? Like, your family, wouldn't you have like literally like $1 billion inheritance or something? Why would you do this? When you're rich as fuck. And she said, my family's money is so bloody that I would rather sell my body because there's more honor in it than touching a single penny of their fortune. And I didn't press her. I wish I had, honestly. I wish I had. I wish I had been like, chop, chop, chop. Here you go. Let's talk about this some more, because I probably could have milked her for quite a bit of information. But yeah, think about that. And it's true. She really was. It's not like it was some rumor or something. She really was a Pepsi heiress. And she would rather sell her body. Its average view duration is actually 11 minutes and 11 seconds right now. So, by the way, you guys in the shorts feed, you might want to jump over to the horizontal because I'm gonna play another video, I think, in a minute, and you guys aren't gonna be able to see it over there. So yeah, what could it possibly be that Pepsi Corporation has been up to that is that bad that this girl is like, I would rather be a prostitute than touch my inheritance because the money is so bloody and dirty and disgusting. So, I'm trying to think of like other like wild things that happened while I was there. There's a lot. There's a lot. I'm trying to think, like, I know more stuff, like more bad stuff about politicians and, just generally people in DC. It's not really coming to mind. If anyone has any questions, why are you subbing to everyone in that commented? That's good. Yeah. That's good. 11 concurrent viewers and 11 likes. So, that didn't take as long as I thought it would to talk about the whole bunch of shenanigans with Malik and that whole crew. He beat me. Oh, all right. Let's talk about what might happen to Puffy. Actually, I did skip something. Malik was nothing to fuck with, man. I mean, they were stone cold killers. There's no doubt about that. No doubt about that. We had two Mikes in our circle. One of them was Bandana Mike because he wore a white bandana, and the other one was Teardrop Mike because he had killed someone as a minor, and he got out as, you know, young still, but he had teardrop tattoo on his eye. And he was a sad story. He started out, in his words, turning tricks with fags. And then he said he realized when he was really young, his mom was a prostitute and his dad was a pimp. And he was big. And he said he started out turning tricks with fags, his words. He probably put it even worse than that, really. I think I remember what he actually said. And so he said when he got to be about 14, 15, he realized he was big and that he could rob them. So he stopped turning tricks and started robbing the tricks. And then he became a stick-up kid, and then he killed somebody. And then he was only 16 or something, so he got out when he was 19 or 20. And I think there were circumstances that also made the sentence, I think it was like the other person was shady somehow too, so it wasn't so bad. But anyways, so there was the Teardrop Mike and Bandana Mike, and they had these names just to distinguish which Mike we're talking about. And so Teardrop owed Mal for like a quarter kilo, I think. And Mal, he went to Bandana Mike's girlfriend's house put a gun in her mom's face, got the information in her mom's face, got the information for where Bandana had run off to, and he went to Colorado. Like I remember he came over and he dumped an extra big pile on me because he's like, I'm going to be gone for a minute. I got to go to Colorado. And when he came back, he walks in my living room into the kitchen, which was kind of in the living room, and he throws a blood red bandana on the counter. So Bandana Mike is no longer with us, and he went all the way to Colorado to find him. So let's rewind back to when Puff Sean Combs ratted out Malik and all of his people. How he got away without ever getting killed is kind of beyond me, except that Mal got busted again. And I don't know if maybe he never got out of jail or, there were a bunch of charges. I think there were some violent charges. So that may have saved Sean Combs' life. But here's the thing. That kind of shit doesn't go away. If he ends up in prison, people are going to know about this. People are going to know. And I don't know if he still lives in New York, but I'm pretty sure Malik caught his charges in New York. And so wouldn't it be funny, wouldn't it be ironic if Puffy gets locked up in the same fucking prison as Malik? I mean, he was a bad man. He was huge. I was late on a payment one time. Really wasn't my fault. Somehow the cocaine got wet. I was like trying to cut it, and I don't know what the hell happened, but there was like moisture, and it was just disappearing. And of course, he's like, "Yeah, right, dude." But it's really what happened. I was probably high too, and maybe I was like sweating in it or something. I really don't know. And there were other circumstances as well. But I was late, and the next guy that he got as a sidekick, because remember he always had sidekicks. The first one was Puffy, like the first 2 or 3 times he came to my house, and then he was replaced by Drama, who got shot for causing drama, and then Leaf was the next guy. And Leaf, it's funny because Puffy had a fake pot name. It wasn't really related to pot, but that's like kind of what he let people think. And so the last guy also had like a fake pot name because no one smokes leaf. I don't know. It was just funny that it went full circle back to this like fake pot name. But I called Leaf because I needed weed for someone. And it was stupid of me because I should have known, like Mal's mad at me right now. I shouldn't be calling his sidekick to come and bring me weed. But I did. And I even saw him. He was like leaning up against the the like, beside the door, so he thought I couldn't see him out of the, out of the peephole because he was going to ambush me or whatever. I mean, he did for sure. But I saw Leaf and I was like, God, I need the weed. And I didn't really think Mal was I didn't think he was that mad. So I opened the door and Mal comes in swinging with this Louisville Slugger. It was a little miniature Louisville Slugger. And he hit me in the stomach with it, which hurt like hell. And then he hit me in the side of the head right across the temple. And I had an indentation that was exactly the shape of that. I mean, like sticking way out of my face for quite some time, like probably a week. It looked like a half pipe. So, and then he grabs me with one hand and puts me on my ceiling. And he's like basically explained the terms of my continued existence to me and dropped me and left, which was a payment plan, basically. So just making the point that yeah, well, we have the sister channel. The sister channel is my good friend Athena, and yeah, I mean, we're trying to get things monetized since I cannot monetize anything in my name. We're putting maybe some shorts from my channel, and we did an interview, but the YouTube deleted her other channel. So this is the second sister channel that we have created to try to monetize. By the way, you guys, I think I'm going to do some like AI instructional videos for my patrons only. So if you're into that, I mean, there's a little bit of a learning curve, and a lot of the programs are actually stupid. Like the one that I made these puffy videos with today is not really, I mean, the first video I made was decent. It was pretty funny. But then after that, it was a train wreck. So yeah, if Puffy gets sent to prison, people know that he's an informant, that he was an informant before he got famous, like right before it was like literally like, I don't even know how this happened exactly, because he got busted and then he was famous. Like, it wasn't more than 2 months later or something. And there's no, like, I've never heard, and it's not in his Wikipedia, there's no record of it online anywhere. He definitely didn't do any jail time. But I know for sure, 100%, that he got busted. And, I can't prove that Malik was telling the truth, that he really ratted him and all the rest of his crew out. But I believe him. I definitely believe him for what it's worth. And then they say he killed Michael Jackson, dude. That's just the craziest shit ever, Like, this world is so out of control and so weird at this point that I almost just can't even handle being here anymore. It's like, I don't know why the world keeps turning around and around, but I wish it would stop and let me off. I've had it. But actually, it's not really true, because I have discovered some remarkable things right around me. Good morning, Johan. He says good morning to me every single day, almost without fail. And we are going to get back to our regular metaphysical content directly. But when this story hit about the raid and stuff, and I just started thinking about it, I was like, man, I got to talk about this because it's just too wild. And so anyways, yeah, walking up the road behind my house the other day, it's incredible. There's giant, Andean peaks and all kinds of, there's wild passion flowers, incredible looking flowers with a fruit called tumbo that grows off on the vine. It's like a passion fruit. It is a passion fruit, but they call it tumbo. And the sauca berries that are just absolutely incredible. They make a yogurt with them that's just mind-blowingly good. So, and then there's ruins everywhere back there. And then yesterday, I guess? Yeah, it was yesterday already. Anyways, I went to the Temple of Luna near Cusco, and I also went to these giant limestone things. I can't remember what they're called, like malcas or something. And some of them have caverns under them, so you can go into these chambers where they have vitrified the stone. So the Inca would use maybe gold that had been heated up until it's like red hot, and then they polished so the limestone looks like marble and it's like super smooth. But no one knows how they did it. No one knows why they cut all these shapes into the rock either. It's super hard rock. But here's the weird thing. There are fossils in the loose limestone, right? Like shells and shit. And so in the big mounds where they have all these cuts and like chairs and like love seats carved into them, it almost looks like. And they're everywhere. Like I went to like 4 of them or something. And there's, the Inca Road is thousands of miles long. And I assume there's just all, stuff along it the entire way. But so some of them theorize that they put some kind of bonding agent after pulverizing the limestone, removed all the fossils, and then put bonding agent in it and actually formed these things, these giant things. And it does kind of seem like the only way to do it is if it had been smooth, when these things were created. There's like finger marks, it looks like, running up through where they were shaping it and stuff. It's weird, man. And there's no practical reason for a lot of these flat areas. There's no purpose, And if it was hard limestone, why would they do that? I mean, it would have been terribly hard work. So anyways, that video is coming out Tuesday or Wednesday or something. So I don't know, we can AMA. I don't know if I have any more stories about pity or whatever. Be interesting to see what happens though, man. I mean, come on, killed Michael Jackson. I mean, what? Find your hat. Yeah. You know what's funny about that? But I did lose my microphone, which is terrible. I'm miserable about that. So it's excellent help for me, wonderful help. If you guys join my Patreon, consider subscribing, at least turn on the bell notifications, share the videos with anyone you think might benefit from them. And there are also options in the chat where you can send me millions of dollars via PayPal, Zelle, and Cash App, and Bitcoin, and whatever. So we really appreciate that because we're demonetized, and I spend money making content. I lose microphones and stuff, and I got to replace them. So anyways, the hat, I was freaking out, man, because I was talking to a girl, and she said something about no hat because I didn't know who she was. And I was like, oh, were you wearing a black cap? And she's like, no, no hat. And I was like, no hat. And I looked all around everywhere, couldn't find the hat. I pulled my comforter off the bed twice, right? Like I was like, it's not there, it's got to be there. And then that night I got into bed and pulled the comforter over, and the hat fell right on my face. It was wrapped up in the comforter the whole time. So, yeah. Yeah, I know you guys keep telling me to write the book, but the problem with that is, for me at least, I'm like, what exactly am I supposed to do? I guess it starts out with all this white trash, inbred, like pit bulls being fed gunpowder loose in my neighborhood and all that ghetto white trash shit, and then eventually resolves in this sort of learning ritual magic and shamanism in the jungles and mountains. I mean, I guess, because that's what I don't know. I don't understand what people are telling me to do. Should I write about the metaphysics and the occult stuff and hermeticism and all that, or biographical, or somehow manage to do both at the same time? That's the problem, I guess, is me trying to wrap my head around what is it that you're telling me to write about, and what format. And what I've noticed is that I can be talking about any of these things and people will say you need to write a book. So I guess maybe I need to write a few books. I don't really know. You guys let me know what you think is the best course of action. It's not that they're necessarily young enough to have their moms watching. It's just that Flezick is saying, I'm surprised you have viewers young enough that their moms are watching. The mom, I think, is a little bit maybe overprotective in this case, and like maybe a little bit nutty too. Sorry. For talking about your mom that way, but I think that my interactions, I've interacted with this woman, actually. Have I hiked up to the waterfall towards Pumahuanca? Do you mean I know I've seen the name of that town, but I'm not sure. I doubt it. I've only gone on 2 hikes. One straight up the mountain up to the ruins back there where I found the human skull and teeth and the green. Actually, let me go get that. And I'm pretty sure that I can find better specimens. Here, let me see if I can turn the lights a little bit and get this to show. Yeah, I mean, it's not really showing it in its like full glory. Not really in its full glory. I mean, it's like they're green crystals, and there's tons of them out there. I think it's peridot. So peridot does come inexpensive. It does have that valuation under certain circumstances. So, and by the way, the reason the music stuff isn't happening is that part of my mic stand was in the box with the mic I lost, so I have no way to set the mic and then play the guitar. But I think Monday, I hate this. I'm going to go get another condenser mic. That's going to really hurt. And then I'm also going to get the guitar repaired. I'm going to drop it off on Monday. So we're going to be all new, feeling brand new, sooner than later. I don't know. What do you guys want me to talk about? If you have any subject on your mind that I can talk about, I will. Do you guys want to watch more of those AIs that I made about Diddy getting turned out in prison? Yeah, sure. All right. Let's watch one more. I'm just sad that I didn't label them better so that I know like what's what is what, and who is who. I'm also sad that I can't change the view on the vertical one. That's super stupid. But that's what's up. Okay. Where is it? I mean, I could generate new ones too, man. It's really, you guys want to see some? Oh no, I closed it. Here, let me open Civet AI back up too, so you guys can see these horrific thumbnails that I was gonna use. But I thought, some of it is just in too bad of taste. Like this is supposed to be Diddy and Clinton on Epstein Island. And it didn't really, I mean, Diddy kind of looks, and there's like 2 Bill Clintons with a Diddy there and a bunch of, that's supposed to be Jeffrey Epstein, doesn't look anything like him. There's Clinton again. Oh man. Yeah, I mean, it was just too twisted. I was like, no, I can't. Like this one, I was like, that just doesn't, that's bad taste, man. That was really just bad taste. Terrible Bill Clinton, terrible Diddy with kids again, Clinton with little. Oh, that was a pretty good Epstein, right? That's a pretty good Epstein. That's all right. There's some scary ones. Hold on, you guys. Stay with me here. That's Hillary and Bill, but that just doesn't make sense. Settle down, Diddy. They look a bit young, dude. There's the whole clan. The Clintons. Come on, man. We gotta get to the good ones here. There's some really messed up. Yeah, see that I almost used this one, but I thought, no, dude, that's just. Anyways, hold on. Let me go down to where they're like really just messed up. There's one where Clinton is a cop, and for some reason he's arresting Diddy. Oh man, yeah. It's just all bad news. Let's see. I tried to do one where it had Epstein, Diddy on the beach with Michael Jackson's body. But look shit. Like, what is that? What is that pile of crap right there, you know? How is that Michael Jackson? And it's like two Diddies, like, what is this? What is that thing, you know? Yeah, a Diddy with Michael Jackson's body. It's just some weird lump of flesh, and one of his legs is like 6 feet long. I mean, yeah, dude. AI is just such a bizarre. Like, what is going on here? Look at this mess. What is that? It was supposed to be P Diddy getting arrested and Michael Jackson's body, so it like made a combination of P Diddy in chains and a dead Michael Jackson, I think. I don't know, man. Like, what is that thing, you know? Where does it even come up with this crap? Why is Diddy a cop in this one? Like, what is this? All right, so let's find my I can't remember the name of the site. What's it called, you guys? Do you remember? In video. I'm gonna put this to better use. Don't worry. Don't worry about that. We're not doing the TMI shit anymore after tonight. All right, so here's my stuff I've made. P. Diddy sits in the sand on Epstein's island, crying and handcuffed behind his back. A group of children surrounds him, pointing and laughing. The narrator describes how Puffy is an informant, a child predator, and a murderer. Flashback to P. Diddy at Neverland Ranch with Michael Jackson. P. Diddy puts fentanyl. P. Diddy puts fentanyl. Oh, it's still creating these. Oh my gosh. There's more coming, you guys. Maybe if they don't have an actual title, they're not finished. Oh yeah, here we go. Ever pondered on the boundaries of artistic expression? How far can an artist go to challenge societal norms? Picture this, P. Diddy, the hip-hop mogul, sitting in drag in the lap of a large, imposing man in a prison cell. A scene that is far removed from the glitz and glamour we associate him with. P. Diddy, born Sean... By the way, I did not write these scripts, and that is not my voice. It's a clone. Sean Combs has always been known for his flamboyant persona and his ability to push the envelope. But this takes us to a whole new level of audacity. Here he is, in a jail cell, far away from the luxurious life he's accustomed to. The man he's with is Malik, a fellow inmate. The scene is surreal, almost dreamlike. The air is thick with tension, the atmosphere heavy with unspoken words. Malik, the large man, leans in, whispering to P. Diddy, "Be a sweet girl and take care of Daddy." The words hang in the air, a stark contrast to the hard, cold reality of the prison cell. There's a moment of silence before P. Diddy responds, his voice barely above a whisper. "I love you, Daddy. I am your little girl now." It's an unexpected yet profound declaration, a testament to his willingness to embrace a new, unfamiliar role. So, what does this mean? Is P. Diddy trying to shock us with his audacity, or is he attempting to challenge our perception of gender roles and identities? Perhaps he's presenting a critique of the prison system or the societal expectations placed on individuals. Whatever the interpretation, one thing is clear. P. Diddy is not afraid to push boundaries and challenge norms. This scene, as jarring as it may seem, is a testament to his willingness to go beyond the conventional and explore the depths of human experience. In the grand scheme of things, this story serves as a reminder that art, including music, has the power to question, provoke, and inspire. It's a testament to the transformative power of artistic expression and a call to us all to question our assumptions and explore the boundaries of our own understanding. So next time you find yourself humming along to a P. Diddy track, remember this moment. Remember the courage it took to challenge societal norms. And remember that art in its many forms has the power to change perspectives and inspire conversations.
Wow. Oh my God. There's some really, really... Oh, the unseen side of fame, P. Diddy's island incident. Oh man, I wonder what happened here.
Imagine a sunny day on Epstein's Island, a locale notorious for its scandalous past.
Yeah. This was the one I posted already today. So that means... Did we watch this one? I'm sorry, guys. I don't have this better organized.
Welcome to a world where boundaries are pushed, where images are redefined, and where the unexpected becomes the norm. Let's take a journey into the realm of P. Diddy, the hip-hop mogul known for his audacious moves and unorthodox choices. In a surprising twist, Diddy, dressed in drag, is seen in the confines of a prison cell, perched on the lap of a formidable figure, a man named Malik. This unusual tableau unfolds a story that's both compelling and unsettling. In this realm, the strong become vulnerable. Diddy pleads for gentleness, a stark contrast to his usual bravado. His declaration of love and submission to Malik adds another layer to this extraordinary narrative. This is a world where Diddy is no longer the hip-hop mogul we know, but a character in a story that challenges our perceptions. As the loop continues, we are left to ponder on the transformation of a man and the power of a narrative that refuses to be defined by the ordinary. So, welcome to a world where the unexpected is the only constant, where boundaries are blurred and stories are as multifaceted as the people who live them. Welcome to the world of P. Diddy.
Oh my God, that was awful. Oh man, yeah, this is what I did all day today. All day. Oh my gosh, it's still generating. Man, there were some really good ones. I'm kind of annoyed that I can't figure out where they are.
In a world where the sun shines a little less brightly, Sean Combs, better known as P. Diddy, sits forlornly on a sandy beach. His eyes...
All right, that's enough of that. We've probably lost most of our viewers. Beautiful. Yeah, we could talk about scientific illuminism for sure. Yeah, there was there were some that were so great. Like it would say something like, Diddy is now, in drag. And they would show a drag queen that just looked like so over the top insane, because you can actually set it for it to be themed LGBTQI, ZMPT12965111213 or whatever, cats and furries and shit. Scientific illuminism. What can I say about scientific illuminism? I mean, hey, where did I go? Okay, there I am. Scientific illuminism is basically the idea that one should navigate your spiritual, metaphysical, ontological, epistemological, all of that stuff with the same set of rules and techniques and protocols that you would use to navigate your regular life. So you do not abandon reason. You do not abandon skepticism. You do not abandon, common sense. You do not have to vacate your being of intellectual prowess as you must in order to be religious. And I'm not exaggerating. It really is a requirement that you accept some level of mindlessness in order to accept any religious belief. And so in scientific illuminism, there is certainty and not faith. You know, you are looking, there are some things that we have to kind of take for granted. You know, certain precedents that, you know, you have to start somewhere. You have to operate under some kind of assumption. But there's a method to the madness, right? Like, when we see in all of these ancient scriptures the idea that the ultimate reality is actually nothingness, right? If you look in Aleister Crowley's Book of Lies, the whole thing is really about how there's nothing there. The Buddha talked about that, the real nature of reality and ourselves is emptiness, and you know, there's lots of those kind of indications. And so we have discovered with modern physics that matter is mostly empty space. And in fact, the more you zoom in, the bigger the nothingness gets. So we're able to validate these older ideas. And then that also validates the idea that we do possibly have access to information through non-ordinary means. There's quite a lot of this, actually. And so that's what we look for. You know, the Kabbalah has this idea of the light coming down and filtering through these different spheres and then crystallizing in matter. And then the matter returns to the light, redintegration back into source. And that is now called quantum loop theory. You know, so we have these parallels that can be established. Another technique of scientific illuminism is to look all around the world for things that are ubiquitous. So when you have an ayahuasca ceremony, when you have a lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram, when you are, you know, Wiccan, which is a fake religion too, but you know, anywhere you look, Native Americans, you know, circle, 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 everywhere circle. If you're going to have a ritual, you're going to have a ceremony, you're going to do it in a circle. And within the perimeter of a circle, that's where the magician or the shaman manages the energy, and then all of the stuff on the outside is sort of repelled by the will of the magician and the geometry of the circle. And then the four directions are almost always acknowledged in some form or another in every ceremony, in every culture that I'm aware of. Well, that's not quite exactly true. It's like more where there's sort of like a shamanic element. And a lot of people say that white people don't have a shamanic tradition, but that's absolute bullshit. And it's not just bullshit on one level, it's bullshit on all kinds of levels, because the Western mysteries there are European lineages, Greek lineages. I guess Greeks are Latin, so they're not exactly white, but you know what I mean? There's a Western tradition of shamanism because the mysteries always did employ entheogenic plants in different combinations. But some people suspect mushrooms. Some people say that lysergic acid derivatives that were fermented into beers, which I really, really doubt, because although Albert Hofmann was able to ferment a beer from infected rye, the reality is that ergot fungus is super, super deadly. And it causes LSD-like hallucinations for sure, because there are all sorts of lysergic acid, diethylamide type compounds rolling around in that nasty little brown fungus. $20,000 an ounce last time I checked, which was 20 years ago. So pricey. But yeah, it causes gangrene-like symptoms, or kind of similar to if you were to eat mercury. Mercury actually kind of has LSD-like symptoms, but then you die. So not really the best way to trip, probably. But you know what I mean? I doubt the ergot. I think that the likelihood is that acacia and Syrian rue were used because the tradition of scientific illuminism can be traced back to Babylonia. And the reason we know that is that illuminists like Aleister Crowley, and now the modern version, the Pythagorean Illuminati, and a lot of the other people that have been associated with this, trace the lineage to Pythagoras. And Pythagoras was known to have traveled to Egypt, where he acquired the knowledge of the mysteries, which is really a religion of light. And that's another area where we can connect it to modern science with sort of absolute concision. There is no wishy-washiness. There is no ballparking shit. There's no guesstimation. Photons are eternal and formless and changeless, and all of the things that all of these religions have described, the divinity as all these qualities. And, there's a lot of other things. There's alchemical allegories that have turned out to be true and verifiable. And so that's the thing. Like in scientific illuminism, we do not accept anything less than that. If you don't have like some major astronomically improbable coincidence, we're not. It's not part of the schematic. It's not part of the framework. We don't say, well, I believe this just because, you don't do that. There's no, it doesn't make any sense. Like I saw a lot of people online today saying, well, I believe that Jesus was real. Why? Just because you believe something? We have got to stop doing that collectively. That whole faith thing is complete garbage. It is literally propaganda designed to rot your brain, so that you don't know how to think critically and you are just mindless. It's not, subjective belief is, if you can have absolute conviction that Allah is the name of God and another idiot who is convinced that Jesus is the name of God, which one of these guys, they're both egos so out of control that they think they're certain that they're right. And it's, why isn't there consensus then? And then we have the overwhelming evidence that Jesus did not exist. The Roman consulate kept very anal records of everything, and they had spies all over the empire. There's not one diary entry. There's not one visual. Nobody got a visual on this Jew walking around preaching to people. There's no arrest record. There's no court records. There's no execution records. There is absolutely nothing, And then you have narrations in the Bible that are like him thinking stuff with Satan talking to him telepathically or whatever. Who was writing it down? Who was in his head? It's just like, if you can't tell this is a story that is not real, then you might be 4 years old, It's that bad. It's just a matter of cultural conditioning and fear that has trapped people in there. And the extent of it is really, truly extraordinary, When you consider that sunlight dances on water and Jesus walked on water, and he's like, I am the light. It's like, I wonder if this might be an allegory for the sun. I don't know. It sure sounds like it. Sun comes up, sun goes down. Jesus comes up, Jesus goes down. Jesus comes up, Jesus goes down. And, the Southern Cross, 3 days on the Southern Cross, 3 days on the cross. The Southern Cross is a constellation that the sun takes 3 days to pass through. It's just so dumb, They really spelled it out for everyone. Like, we're just fucking with you. They did it deliberately to sort of like look down their nose at the common man more, to make it really obvious just to kind of rub their noses in how, easy to manipulate and fool they are. And then there's the fact that, Jesus really didn't do anything but teach basic morality. Don't throw rocks at hookers. Wow, you must be God, dude. That's amazing. What? And love your neighbor. I mean, my toddler knows that. He doesn't need to be taught by Jesus. So, and then you can really go down the rabbit hole, the Easter bunny rabbit hole, and you can think about the really scary, obvious stuff that the morning star, Lucifer, Lucifer was not a spiritual enemy of the Jews, but a political one. And it doesn't even exist in the original book, but Jesus and Lucifer call themselves morning star. Those are the only people in the Bible with that moniker. First commandment, thou shalt have no other gods, doesn't say until my son comes. You know what I mean? Beware a wolf in sheep's clothing, the lamb, I mean, you guys mostly have heard this yarn from me before, but it's worth reiterating for anyone that hasn't heard it yet. It gets worse too. I'm trying to remember. I'm really, really tired, and I'm trying to recall all the details of this, but it's insane. It's completely insane that people don't notice this stuff. Oh yeah, one of the best ones is that John warns Satan may come as an angel of light. Satan was supposedly kicked out of heaven for trying to be God, right? Lucifer was, at least. So this guy comes down here, acts like God, and they say he's the great deceiver. So he teaches this basic morality. Isn't that exactly what Satan would do if he was the great deceiver? He would act like Jesus and then drag your ass to hell because you broke the first commandment. It's just so mind-numbingly dumb. And if you're Christian and this is insulting to you, I could give zero fucks, honestly. One of the things that probably gets under my skin more than anything I have ever experienced aside from this is when Christians whine about being persecuted. Like, are you just for real? Really? 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 Burning Gnostics alive like 200 at a time in like church basements, dungeons in France, and the witch hunts in the entire South America, all their cultures wiped out and replaced with Catholicism, and everybody turned all bland and passive, and it's just awful. It's absolutely awful. Ruined the fucking United States, the entire Bible Belt. All those people just suck, dude. The whole thing just sucks balls. Big, rotten, stanky, sweaty fucking donkey balls. It's so bad. Just like basically just like removed everyone's brains and made them kind of just awful. It's awful. It's terrible. What Christianity does to people's minds. It's terrible. And then, you might say, well, it's not the don't shoot the messenger kind of thing. But here's the thing, misapplication of what? The idea of spiritual bypassing. You can put your sins on some zombie and then you're all good. You don't have to do any shadow work or, it's completely retarded. And then also that someone else should suffer for what you have done. You think that's good psychology to spread around the world? No, dude, no. Satan may come as an angel of light. We were warned by John, like 45 pages before Jesus comes, I am the light. Like, wait a minute. Didn't John just tell us this was going to happen and that it was actually Satan? Yes, that's literally what happens in the book, and everyone's like blind, like, oh, I didn't notice. What are you fucking talking about? And what they do, the way that they set it up, is that they just sort of pick and choose what they talk about from the pulpit. They actually reverse things, like they say the serpent lied in the Garden of Eden, but if you read the book, the serpent told the truth. It's literally the opposite of what, but everyone thinks that, right? Everyone's heard, oh yeah, the serpent lied in the Garden of Eden. No, he didn't. He said, verily, thou shalt not die. And they didn't die. So Jehovah lied, not the serpent. So happy Ishtar and hail Satan, I can't do it. Yeah, sure, there are a lot of good Christians. There are, sure. That guy Andrew that I gave that talk with the other day. He's a great guy, and he's coming from the same place as I am. He has basically the same message, but here's the thing. There probably were some Nazis in Germany that were pretty chill too, but the overwhelming majority of them were fucking Nazis, So people that are apologists for Christianity because a couple of them are nice or whatever, it's like, we don't need the bullshit that comes with it. You know what I mean? You can excise all of the religion, and we still know how to be nice. We don't need the book that causes all this trouble to teach people to be nice. It's got nothing to fucking do with the book. Don't need it. So why, And really, apologists for Christianity do sound like Nazi sympathizers to me. They absolutely do. It's like, okay, well, Nazis taught discipline and manners to the youth, and they had their good qualities. Never mind the 6 million Jews or whatever. And that's this person in the chat, well-meaning, and I mean this with love and respect, but you're like, well, there's some good Christians, and it's like, yeah, well, what about all the thousands of years of genocide, setting science back 200 years, wiping out entire cultures, not killing all the people necessarily, but just taking their religion, burning all their books. Like, what has humanity lost in the name of this dumbass religion that is totally unnecessary? There are no saviors. You don't need that. You save yourself, You save yourself. And the only way to have spiritual knowledge is through the mysteries, contemplation of the mysteries and proper study and contemplation and self-development and research in every different arena. You have to learn about math and geometry. And I don't mean looking at shapes on the internet and then reading what some new ager thinks they symbolize to Metatron or whatever, but actually learning the function of geometry and how it functions in, for example, I use this a lot, but when you do the lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram, you have a circle, you have a square when you acknowledge the 4 directions, the 4 archangels, the 4 fundamental forces of physics, all these different things that can be expressed in terms of this 4. And then in my version, the spirit, the light, is the 5th element directly above and in the center. And if you draw lines from the corners of the square, now you have a pyramid. So when you introduce consciousness into the system, you have a habitable universe. And there's a little clue in there for you. And so those kind of things tell you about the real function of the geometry. To just look at something and have a belief about, this is the tree of life, this is the flower of life. What does it do? I don't know. It's just this thing. You know what I mean? There's real functional, and also with numerology. You can read about what numbers mean to people online on this new agey version of numerology. But in real numerology, the numbers are functional. They're almost entities. They have a purpose. The 4 is about stability, and for a reason. Look at the chair you're sitting on, And so 9 is the number of truth, because any multiple of 9 reduced is again 9, because the truth is always the truth. So, you know what I mean? You don't just have these weird, abstract, intuitive beliefs about stuff. It's demonstrable. Your success is your proof. You don't just say stuff and believe stuff just because it feels nice or something. You go through processes of actually attaining knowledge that is demonstrable and functional. Can do stuff with it, even sometimes. What was the Knights Templar? Well, that depends on who you ask, but I have a theory about the Knights Templar. And that brings us to the subject of alchemy. Because the Knights Templar, among other things, what's up, Twisted Reality? By the way, you guys, hit the like button, share, subscribe, consider joining my Patreon. This kind of information that we're talking about now, there's a lot of it there, and it's not on my public channel. And money makes the world go round. It's like that other lie my mama always used to tell, that love makes the world go round. It's definitely True, but also money. Okay, so the Knights Templar, alchemy and whatnot, the vitriol, the red dragon and the green lion, a white eagle, the blackening, the prima materia. So here's the deal. Follow me. This is a little bit complicated and convoluted, but the idea of the universal mind, right? There are clues and hints that it is an actual thing. For example, the pyramid being at the longitude of light, exactly to the full, number of the speed of light, and then there's other dimensions that also incorporate it. And the Egyptians didn't use miles per hour, and they didn't use the longitude system that we do. So, considering that the mysteries are really they circumambulate around the light, usually Widdershins. That makes it even weirder, So, what happened there? So that's what we call a God wink, I mean, also it's possible that there are fundamental constants that are expressed in different forms of mathematics. And so they had that constant spelled out in their way. And it just so happens that our measurements correspond because there's a constant involved. You know what I mean? That could explain it too. But I don't think so. I think it's weirder than that. And I'll give you an even better example of why it's weirder than that. And something that my subscribers are all very familiar with, this explanation, but it's such a powerful one. Man, this is a really, really Jimmy piece of peridot. It's really like nice and dark green. So in the process of alchemy, where you turn lead into gold, you use lead, quicksilver, which is mercury, and high voltage shock. In fact, this Masonic book here, which I'm going through each degree in my Patreon and analyzing every single one, it's taking forever. We've been doing it for months. Worth it though. It's pretty wild stuff. He talks about how to use an electric charge to knock a proton off of mercury to make gold, and that's what happens. There are, I think it's 99 for mercury, and you knock one off, and then it's 98, and it's gold. And the sun is a symbol of gold because our consciousness comes from light, and it happens to be golden, the sun. In fact, in some branches of the mysteries, they believe that gold is literally crystallized consciousness. And it actually does, if you put it in a colloidal form and consume it, it does good stuff for your brain, unsurprisingly. It's super conductive, and guess what? Electromagnetic energy is the other fundamental thing that our consciousness operates on. Because the field, the electromagnetic field, there's lots of evidence surfacing in the work of Michael Levin and some other people that, are the information that makes our world basically mostly comes from that field. It even overrides our DNA. Conversation for another time and place. But so Mercury, the planet, is right next to the sun. Knock a proton off of Mercury, it becomes gold. Ain't no fucking way the people that named those planets knew that. And yeah, you want to call that a coincidence, you might be retarded. You know what I mean? Like, come on. So that's the kind of thing that when we talk about how we see certain bits of evidence, and the problem is that you can never absolutely like a scientist would still go, okay, yeah, you're just making up bullshit connections that are coincidences, but it's all a little weird. To be just coincidence, especially considering that the double meaning in alchemy also of gold is the consciousness. There's an internal transformation that is required before you are able to perform the great work of the transmutation of the prima materia. So what I was saying about the Templars is that I think they knew how to do it. because 1 minute they were a bunch of like, you know, broke ass priests, basically magicians, alchemists, and the next thing you know, they have the entire crowned heads of Europe in debt to them. How could you do that if you were an alchemist? I mean, I'm scratching my head trying to understand how in the fuck that, you know, I can't imagine. Alchemy? You know, and they'll tell you like, well, they borrowed money from whoever. No, dude, you can't borrow enough money to get the entire fucking European royalty, you know, pretty much all of them, the crowned heads of Europe, all in debt to you. It's not realistic. Sorry. Something else happened. So, am I a shaman? I mean, I hate to say that because there's a lot of people that don't like it when white people say that they're shaman. But I happen to be of the opinion that that's hurting fucking stupid. And we do have a shamanic tradition in the Western world, as I was saying. It's called the mystery traditions. And also, when I lived in a Quechua community in Talag, they called me maestro. So I feel like if indigenous people refer to me as a shaman, then I don't see any reason why I shouldn't call myself that. And in the tradition that I actually learned, it's actually an Owishan, the Shuar way, which is much harder than like Shipibo is like Elven, and you know, it's very light and healing. And I'm not saying the Shuar way isn't healing, but it's not like that. It's much more like spooky almost. You know, the Ikaros are very like powerful, and they're not Ikaros even. They're, you know, something entirely different. It's like channeling. There's one song in particular that the teacher would do where it would start out low, like and when he went high, this thing would like stretch like his neck up, and it had like eyeballs on stalks, and when it went high, like it was like fat and wide when it was low, and then it would squish together and stretch up and like elongate for the high parts and then drop back down and do the low. It was fucking crazy to watch. I guess I probably do that too because I used that one. But you know, it's like really almost disturbingly interdimensional. You know, it's like when you're actually in the presence of something that is not of this world, it's kind of scary. You know, there's like this feeling of like, oh shit, this is real. You know, there's actually this Goa trance. There's actually this Goa trance song where they used like what is it called? Where the speakers it sounds like shit is moving through them and surround sound, but there's another word for this where the stuff moves. So you know it's supposed to be a UFO that's like flying around your head, and then it like stops and you hear this girl go, "Oh shit, that was real. Let's get out of here." And it always reminded me of like you know, that's what was happening. Like they were tripping, but they realized that was real, and like that terror of like this like thing that shouldn't be real happening is happening anyways. It's a very common experience at Shuar ceremonies, man. The telepathy too is like constant and normal after a while. You know, you don't even flinch. And I'm not talking about anything that could be guessed. We're talking about things of very high specificity and tremendously weird. Yeah, exactly. They knew the mystery and they could hold it over the church's head, and they did hold it over the church's head. The Templars knew the mystery. Combo. What about Combo? Horse goes up and Horse goes down. Yeah. Hours. Did you notice how Horus is hours rearranged the letters? Indy Hat. It's the name of a mountain. Oh, the Puma thing. No. It's not moss. It's definitely crystals. Definitely green crystals. So where were we at? We're combo. What about combo? I mean, combo's combo. It's. I honestly don't know what to say about it. I don't know what to think. I don't know if it does anything at all. It never did anything for me, you know. And the thing is that people don't understand about placebo. First of all, it's actually in the modern world, it does not make sense that people can put feathers on their head and they just have credibility. All right? Because I know with certainty that a lot of these medicines, what happened is they used them only for like hunting, you know. Rape was for hunting. And, you know, they eventually developed a bunch of different rapes for different stuff. But Sananga is actually what I meant to say, and it was for one thing. It was for hunting. The idea that it clears panema, which is the Quechua word for like basically laziness or like energetic blocks, that may also be a valid thing, but the point I'm making is that with combo, it was definitely just for hunting. And once people realized that white people would pay money to do all this stuff, then all of a sudden it heals all kinds of things, you know. So I'm a little bit suspicious because I've had a lot of health problems, and of all of the things I've ever taken, you know, combo, it's like you puke a bunch and then you're like just no different. I mean, I didn't notice any improvement in any aspect of anything, and I did it several times. So I know people say other stuff, but you have to remember the placebo effect is not, it doesn't mean that you're imagining it. It means that you actually cause changes because you think that, you know. And for a healthy person to say like, oh, I felt better, it's like you already felt fine. What do you mean? You know, I don't know. I don't really. I know what's in it. I mean, I know it has like the strongest opioid in the world is known to man is in there in that frog. There are all kinds of peptides, and you know, there's a lot of stuff in there. It's a insanely diverse biochemical cocktail, but whether or not there's enough of many of those substances to have any kind of biological effect is highly, 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 highly doubtful. So my opinion is that more than likely people are just poisoning themselves with frog venom for no reason. But who am I to say? I mean, people certainly claim that it helps them with stuff, but I've seen no evidence of that. And I also don't know anyone personally that, you know, people that I know well that have done it also, like my ex, and nobody saw any benefit. So that doesn't mean there isn't a benefit. It just means that I didn't experience any benefits. How am I going to smoke those crystals? I'm probably not going to smoke those crystals. Very, very mature comment, bud. All right. Any more questions, guys? It's getting late. And I was already tired when we started this. But, you know, if you guys have something for me, I will continue. Please hit the like button, share, subscribe, consider joining the Patreon or one of the supporting via the stuff in the chat. That's helpful too. Cash App, I have it, PayPal and everything. I'm trying to generate some more AI videos we can watch. Hopefully there'll be a riot. Oh, yep. Here comes one. It's doing it. It's doing it. So does anybody have any questions that aren't about smoking crystals? I mean, what camera do I use? I use a Sony ZV-1. It was literally the only one that I could get in the whole world. They were sold out everywhere. All right, what do you guys think about Ted Cruz being a pedo? That's totally predictable, I would say. Oh no, it's going to make one LGBTQ plus and gothic. So it's about to get weird up in this stream, I'm afraid. It'll take it a few more minutes to generate. So we are in the AMA segment of this stream. So if you guys are curious about stuff, crap, junk, things, WD-40 or catfish bait, I'm totally down to discuss those things. Especially catfish bait. That is one of the most profound and interesting subjects of which I am aware. Hit the like button. It's going to be a good week, you guys. I can't remember why, but oh yeah, I'm going to edit the video of the author and I going a boot in the ruins. And she's a very sweet lady and a delight to be around. She has a very soothing voice, which is nice because Illuministic has been through too much lately. It's a nice, soothing, feminine voice around is comforting. I was talking to this British woman the other day. It was amazing just listening to her talk. I wish I could clone her voice to use it for my AI videos. What's up, Volfied? We are in the AMA section, you guys. We're also in the smash like and send me money segment of the stream. So please do that before I go broke. I have to see how hungry I am. I just tried to eat the microphone. I paid for ChatGPT today to see if it's worth it. I hope it turns out to be. I think I can use it to vet cryptocurrencies, and I'm pretty excited about that. You have to get a... oh, no, you don't anymore. They have a browsing chat. That is sweet. You guys, we have to empower ourselves. What is this? Oh my God. The AI generated like this, like young Michael Jackson, I guess, in a body bag with Jeffrey Epstein holding him up dressed like a cop. Why does it do the things it does? Those of you piling on, you definitely missed the Diddy stories. I can't go through it again. But we're about to watch some disturbing AI-generated predictions about what's going to happen to Diddy in the near future. So stick around for that. It's ready. It's too bad though that the vertical one won't get the video feed. Sorry guys. I'm sorry.
The world of fame, where one's persona can take many unexpected turns. Consider the case of hip-hop mogul P Diddy, known for his suave and groovy beats. Picture him, if you will, in a scenario that might cause a stir, transformed into a captivating character. He's adorned with lipstick, a striking shade of red, perhaps. Now, imagine him in the company of a formidable figure named Malik, a man who seems like he could easily command any room, even a prison cell. Malik, with a soft yet firm tone, instructs P. Diddy to adopt a nurturing role, to take care of him. P. Diddy, in turn, pleads for Malik to be gentle, adding an interesting twist to their dynamic. This vivid tableau sparks a conversation about identity and roles, challenging the boundaries of what we consider conventional. It's an unexpected yet intriguing exploration of character and perception. And so, the saga of P. Diddy continues, ever unpredictable, always fascinating.
All right, well, that definitely wasn't as good as I was hoping it would be. A hit or miss, man.
Cold open. Imagine a world where the conventional is flipped on its head, where a hip-hop mogul like P. Diddy can rewrite the rules of self-expression. Picture this. P. Diddy, known for his flamboyant style, takes it a step further. He's in drag, a glamorous display of audacious fashion, challenging societal norms. Now place him in an unexpected setting, a prison cell. But it's not a typical scene of confinement. Here, he's not alone. There's a large black man, a symbol of strength and resilience. P. Diddy, in his unconventional attire, sits comfortably in his lap. It's a tableau that marries contrasts, a testament to the courage it takes to be truly oneself in a world that often demands conformity. This is not just a scene, it's a statement, an invitation to embrace the unexpected, to defy the ordinary. But remember, it's not about the spectacle. It's about the audacity of being different, of being true to who you are. As the scene loops, it serves as a continuous reminder: be bold, be daring, be you, end.
Wow, man, that was fucking ridiculous. Oh boy. That's good stuff there.
The world of fame, where one's persona can take many unexpected turns. Consider the case of hip-hop mogul P. Diddy, known for his suave and groovy beats. Picture him.
All right. That's enough, man. Wait a minute, though. Here, let me get one processing in the background, so maybe we can. Yeah, okay. I have to make sure it gets past the thinking part, though, because it doesn't like that it's sexual. Yep, see, this one it was like, nope, because it's too sexual. It's kind of dumb that they just censor everything now. I think this one will fly, probably. Still thinking, like, All right, it's gonna go. So we'll check back in there in a few minutes. This is pretty ridiculous, isn't it? Like, I'm going from like Templars and Bufatine or whatever to P. Diddy and drag in jail. Oh, what a world. But, I mean, when the going gets weird, the weird turn pro. That's the old saying in regards to this. What's up, Ray Collier? I can't breathe. George Floyd. Yeah, I remember that. I'll say something that will piss off a lot of people, but is absolutely true. There's a reason that you remember George Floyd, but you don't remember this like innocent autistic kid that got choked out to death by Colorado police. You know why that is? Why is it that that if what we want to do is stop innocent black people from getting killed by cops, why would we make the martyr of the guy that was high on fentanyl and meth trying to use a fake $20 bill to rip off a small business, and then he was going to get in his SUV and drive out into traffic with an SUV high on two of the strongest drugs in the world? And if there was meth in his system, he'd probably been up for several days. And so that's a hero. And the innocent autistic kid, nobody, what's his name? Remember his name? No, you don't. You know why? Because this was all propaganda. I'm not saying it didn't happen, but the way that they play things, the things that they focus on, there's a reason why George Floyd was the martyr. And this, you know what? Let's actually, don't we owe it to this kid to look up his name? Because he's the one that we should be like martyring. And if anyone was going to be protesting for anyone, it wasn't for George Floyd. Remember the girl? I can't remember her name either. They kicked in the door and they're like, oh yeah, they just shot these poor innocent black people. They had like a kilo of cocaine delivered to the house or something. And when the cops kicked in the door, they shot one of the cops. You know what happens when you shoot the cops? You die. Everyone in the fucking house dies. White, green, yellow, blue. Everybody dies. You know what I mean? So that's not racist cops. That's what happens when the cops kick your door down and you shoot one of them. Everyone in the house dies. That's, I don't understand what people are thinking. And so we ignore the cases of an actual innocent black person getting killed by cops and then focus on these like derelict criminals getting killed. And then the right is, of course, like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And the left is like, you're racist. And they're like, what? No. George Floyd held a gun to a pregnant woman's stomach, dude. That means that he was like ripe for execution pretty much from that moment to any other point in his life. Like that dude's right to exist ended when he put a gun to a pregnant woman's belly. Like, do you realize how much poison? Like that child's life was changed forever. Fuck that guy. Like, who? So what is the logic? Like he was innocent and defenseless? You mean like that baby in that pregnant woman's stomach? It's a fucking joke, man. But it is a fact that cops shouldn't be killing people that. So let's see, autistic black kid killed. Ryan Gaynor. Ryan was killed on March 9th when officers responded to a 911 call. He was nonverbal, and his family all learned sign language to communicate with him. But after the Southern California boy learned how to speak at around age 4, he was a ball of energy who never stopped talking. And then he was killed on the 9th of March when officers responded to a 911 call from one of his family members who reported he was breaking things in their house and hitting his sister, who was not injured. Body camera footage showed the two San Bernardino sheriff's deputies shot Ryan within roughly 5 seconds of seeing him. The videos captured someone inside the house saying Ryan had a stick then Ryan appearing in the doorway. He moved toward a deputy who immediately threatened to shoot and fired as he ran from Ryan. The department labeled it an attempted murder of a peace officer in a press release. So that kid flies under the radar, and George Floyd gets martyred. Tracks. That tracks. You know, they do this shit on purpose, man. They really do. It's how they play their game. Guess what? We've got another P Diddy video. Hopefully it's a good one. You never know. Let's see. No, not window capture. Screen capture. It uses a lot of the sock. I actually asked for a refund because this is just so stupid, this program. I mean, the scripts are hilarious, but I can't use
Our story
this.
begins on a seemingly ordinary day when a photo surfaces showing P. Diddy, not in his usual suave, stylish attire, but in drag. Yes, you heard it right. The hip-hop superstar, known for his sharp suits and luxurious lifestyle, is seen dressed in women's clothing. But hold on, the intrigue doesn't end there. He is not in his mansion or at a fancy Hollywood party, but in the most unexpected of places, a prison cell. Sitting on the lap of a large, intimidating man, P. Diddy looks nothing like the fearless mogul we're used to seeing. The man he's with is not a fellow artist or a business partner, but a man named Malik, a man who, in this peculiar setup, appears to hold a strange power over the hip-hop superstar. The situation takes an even more curious turn as P. Diddy, known for his bravado and swagger, seems to show a softer, more vulnerable side. He pleads with Malik, asking him to be gentle. It's a far cry from the tough, unflappable image we've come to associate with the music magnate. But the most shocking revelation comes when P. Diddy tells Malik, "I love you, Daddy. Take it all. I am your little girl now." A statement that shatters the image of the macho, confident artist, leaving us questioning everything we thought we knew about him. So to summarize this unexpected turn of events, P. Diddy, the unshakable hip-hop mogul, is seen in drag in a prison cell, sitting on the lap of a man named Malik. He shows a side of vulnerability we've never seen before, pleading for gentleness and expressing a love that seems completely out of character. This narrative leaves us with more questions than answers. What led to this unusual situation? What does this mean for P. Diddy's image? And most importantly, what does this tell us about the man behind the hip-hop superstar? No matter how you look at it, this story presents a side of P. Diddy that is both unexpected and intriguing, challenging our perceptions and leaving us eagerly waiting for the next chapter in this fascinating saga.
Oh, man. Yep. But here's the thing, you guys. The next chapter of this fascinating saga, I'm going to have to use an uncensored image generator because we got to see exactly how it is that this love between Malik and P. Diddy really manifests, you know. Y'all ready for that? Y'all ready for that? I know you are. I know you all are. All right, I don't. Oh my God, have I lost my mind completely? Tell me if you got an urge that tell you or make you feel that you have indigenous blood in you. Well, I don't have to have an urge. I definitely have indigenous blood in me. My grandmother was Blackfeet, and she was taken off of the reservation and put into one of those schools where they try to make the Indian white, you know, I can't remember what they're called. Like reform schools, you know, to try to civilize the native. And she was a classical piano prodigy. And so that was weird because they say that only people that have it in their blood can be prodigies. That was the belief before. Wait a minute. Did I not okay, I did fix it. Did I fix it? It's fixed. So yeah, she was the first Native American woman to play Carnegie Hall. And I never met her. She died of cancer before I was, well, I don't know if it was before I was born, but my mom lied to me about who my dad was, and I didn't find out who my dad was until I was 11. And so I only met my family on my dad's side like once, I think, once. And I didn't know. I didn't know yet. They didn't tell me yet when I met the family that they were my family. I just, I thought it was a little weird that they seemed so interested in me. And like my grandfather, I didn't know he was my grandfather, but he was like showing me a model train and doing all these like really grandfatherly things, which kind of makes me sad now because I didn't get to maintain that relationship because when my mom broke up with him, he just didn't want anything to do with me again. And my other grandfathers were not grandfatherly at all. They didn't ever speak to me really. So it would have been nice to have like one sane relative, and I think that man was. But anyways, there was a picture of a Native American woman above the fireplace, and I said, "Who is that woman?" And he said, "Oh, well, that was my wife, which would make her my, Jeff's, my dad's mother." Yeah, anyways, she's, and then he told me the story I just told you about her being a classical piano prodigy and Blackfeet and all of that. So I am Blackfeet to some degree. I guess that would be a quarter. Can you talk about Robert Anton Wilson's idea of Chapel Perilous? Yeah, I mean, I'm not really an expert on Chapel Perilous, but basically, it's the part of the process of illumination known as the dark night of the soul, the crossing of the abyss. What happens is, there's this sort of peak period, and it never comes back, and that's rough. It's hard to accept. That you go through this like peak experience with this sort of, storm of synchronicities and precognition and telepathy and all these crazy ass experiences. And generally you lose your mind a little bit to some extent. As Aleister Crowley said, the mystery always presents itself in a way that casts doubt upon it. So, for example, a good example of that is how DMT entities seem to have some kind of objective existence, or telepathy being caused by ayahuasca. People hear that and they say, "Oh, well, you're just high on some really powerful drug, so you're imagining it." It's not true, but the fact that the drug is ingested, that casts doubt upon the mystery. So it's like it's always cloaking itself. And I used to kind of resent that because I felt like, people think we're fools and we're right. They think we're nuts and we're not. And now I understand that it's about keeping pearls from swine. You don't reveal the mystery to the profane. There are only certain people that get to peek behind the veil of Isis, so... yeah, I mean, that's basically what Chapel Perilous is. It's this holy but dangerous period where you're in constant danger of delusion and madness and all sorts of potentially problematic experiences. And some people do, it's legitimately dangerous. Charles Manson, for example, was obviously enlightened. You watch interviews with him and some of the shit that comes out of his mouth, there's no doubt that he achieved some higher level of consciousness. But he got stuck in the ego inflation phase, which happens to almost all men. I've never seen a man that didn't go through this period of thinking they're God when they go through this process. Some of us, like myself, had enough sense to know while it was happening that it wasn't right and something was off, and to totally buy into it. Some people aren't so lucky, and the consequences of that can range from Sharon Tate, but then, there's no evidence that Manson actually ordered any murders or anything, but still, you know what I mean? He's obviously full of ego, and he got stuck in that, I am Christ and the devil in one person, which is true of everyone, but not as true as he was taking it. You know what I mean? You think you're the thing, not that you're a part of the thing. Everyone's a fragment of this divine consciousness. But you can get it in your head that you are the main thing, and people die and stuff when that happens. Cults are formed, and problems occur. That one looks like Gary Busey. Oh, you must be talking about a while back when I had the okay, well, it's almost midnight, so I'll give you guys a minute or two to pop another question into the chat, and if nothing comes up, then I'm out until tomorrow or Tuesday. And I'm going to work real hard on the Ruin video and try to make it extra special and nice and good happiness stuff for everyone. And make sure you hit the like button, share, subscribe, support me on Patreon or one of the other options in the chat. Or else I will go away and never return. What do you mean you're going live after the stream, dude? All right, let's move over to, I'm getting too tired, I'm done. We're going to move over to Illuministic Life and see what she's up to. Bye-bye.